In this video, I'm going to discuss how to install the OutEquip Pro 12 volt heater and AC combo. And this looks pretty sweet up here. So I'm going to give you guys some tips along the way. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to Random Fix. So I have installed my heater slash AC, and this is 12 volt. This is from OutEquip. And I wish I knew what I'm going to share with you guys in this video. So I'm going to show you guys how to install this and how not to make an additional hole on top of your van, and how to do this safely, and some tricks and some things that you should be aware of. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel as we're building out the Sprinter 170 here. And next, I'm going to be installing a deck. If you guys want to follow me along, today the kids helped me out. Hey, how was it?
It was cool.
I wish we would have known some of this stuff, huh?
Yeah.
It would have saved us some time, and we almost made a hole.
Last time, I think we did it. Last time
We didn't have AC, ran off the car. That AC was not cool. So in this video, guys, we're going to definitely help you guys out by showing you guys those tricks. And at the end of the video, I'll give you guys a quick recap of everything as well. Just prepare for this job. Depending on what tools you have, it's probably going to take about 4 hours. And with my advice, I'll try to shave it down for you guys, so you guys don't have to sit here and fumble around with this. Hey friends, it's Future Me. So I got the unit installed, and towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk about what's so good about the unit, why I actually chose this unit, as well as the 12 volt advantages that you should really know about, as there's quite a few. And you're going to be really surprised how easy this is to go ahead and wire up. Stick around and we'll cover this towards the end. Good morning, friends. In this video today, we're going to be installing this air conditioning unit from OutEquip. This is the OutEquip Pro on top of that van, and we're going to get this done. Today, I am getting an opportunity, because the weather's nice, to install the AC system. So let me show you guys the prep work that I have to do really quick. Then I'm going to go and make a hole in my roof and get this thing installed. The instructions look pretty simple, and most of the stuff that I need to get this installed was in the box. This is all about prep, and if you do this correctly, it'll make your life really easy. So where my hole is going to go, it's going to be in this area right here. I've already put up my headliner board, so that way when I make the hole, I'll have a reference point, and then I'll go ahead and lower this down. I'm going to make maybe 4 holes, and later on I'll know what to go ahead and trim out of here, and it'll be a perfect match. So if you have the opportunity to do this, go ahead and do it now. You could go ahead and trim it out later on, but this works a lot better. Then the next step is going to be, and I'm going to have to go and wash up the van really quick, because I need that little hump area right there to be clean, so I get a nice clean mating surface. And we're going to talk about the size of the hole really quick. As far as the hole size, I'm going to go ahead and show the exact specs on the screen here, but I went ahead and made a template. So I have this, and the template looks like it's 14 by 10. However, I'm going to go and make a 14 by 14 hole. It's much easier to make a 14 by 14 template. It's just going to allow for more flexibility for me in the future. So I'm on top of the roof. I have gone ahead and marked center, and the kids are outside with me. We are all going to get this done. And now I'm going to go and find center here. These are going to be my reference points for my inner liner. So I'm going to go and make at least 4 or 5 holes, and that way I know what to trim on the very bottom. Okay, time to make the first hole. Center is identified on both, and I'm going to make this so I know where this is, and then go from there. Here goes nothing. So I got everything marked down, and I use a center punch I'm not able to get this completely flat on the Sprinter as there's a hump. But that's okay, I'm going to be able to cut that anyway. So it'll be a perfect surface. And now let's go ahead and get this cut out. So there might be a lot of metal shavings. I've been vacuuming up as I do this. And I put down some tape. So most of it is gathered right here in the corner. I have 5 holes. So now I know where to trim on the inside of my panel. And I can just take my template to it and be done. So we got 5 holes on the inside here. Easy to go ahead and line up that template. Or just make straight lines. And I'm going to put this box underneath with the tripod right under it. So when this piece falls, it falls right into the box that it came in. Perfect. Everything is clearly marked. I'm going to go from this hole to that hole, that hole to that hole. I've put up some tape so I can go ahead and catch most of the shavings. And there's a box underneath because this is going to go and crash down. And I'll give you guys a little pro tip, which is to go and put some tape after you've made the cut if you don't want this to go and slam down into the panel, as it can really damage a lot of components such as the flooring or anything else that you have underneath. Just don't rush it. Okay, first cut is done. So we made progress. I got some help here, and we made a 14 by 14 hole, and we put down the gasket. There's some tape, you peel it off and you put it around. It is not a perfect square, so you want to go and get it to the metal piece. I have this rib right on the other side, so I need to be aware of that. I went through and painted the surfaces, and anything that I scratched up, I went ahead and just put paint on there. And I might do another coat, but pretty much I'm going to be moving these bars forward because I'm going to have a deck up here, and moving these bars back, and then I'm going to drop the AC system into here. But first we are going to do what?
Since we haven't ate the whole day, we're going to have lunch.
We have a hole. Oh, and by the way, putting the box underneath was so nice. It kept all the trash, everything at bay. And I'm going to go and keep vacuuming and blowing everything off. And to make sure everything is clean, I cleaned up the surfaces with rubbing alcohol. And yeah, so drink lots of water, stay hydrated. And this is actually a lot of fun if you have the right tools. If you don't have the right tools, it's not as much fun. When you are cutting out the roof, you want to make sure you don't cut all the way through. So leave about this much on each corner. So that way you'll make the long cuts, and then you'll have something and the panel doesn't just keep vibrating. Ask me how I know. And this is not my first time, so. You live and learn, but you just got to remember not to cut all the way through.
Don't do it. And also, never get rubbing alcohol confused with water, because they literally look the same if you put them in a glass bottle.
But this won't freeze.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
Well, there's other, it smells bad too.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about where we're at. We have the hole in the van, and we got the gasket in place, and I've gone through and put the self-leveling sealer on, and I've done 2 coats. I'm gonna do a third one before I put the AC up on top of the van, and then I'm gonna go and drop it in. Now I'm really curious about this wire and why it cannot be run on the inside. Making a 2-inch hole, it's a pretty big hole. We already have a 14 by 14 inch hole. So I'm really curious why that is not able to come out from here. This is how stupid people get hurt. So if you're having a problem getting up top or your van's really tall, you can go from the inside And the thing you want to do is just take your time, and both legs have to drop in here. So I got to scoot it this way. So from the inside, I'm going to lift up again, and drop it in. So for my install, I want to make sure I go back a little bit, and your install might be different. I want to make sure everything's centered. So those bars are going to go here. My roof is super flimsy right here. So I'm going to make sure I reinforce it. I'm going to go take a look up top to see how it's going up there, and I'll be back. So our unit is not sitting flush because this is taller than this. So I'm going to have to go and trim this away a little tiny bit, but I already have it stuck down. And additionally, I went sideways because I have these grooves. So the unit is better off being supported from these edges too. So I wish they actually included more of this so we could better stabilize the back, and maybe include in two different heights. One that actually matches this, because right now it's pointing down. So these don't compress, the ones that go in here. So you need to go ahead and adjust the height of this to this. And yeah, they're off both ways, so I didn't do something wrong. So basically I'm using this as my guide. Again, when these go in here, they do not really compress down. So I'm using that. This would have been a lot easier not doing this on top of the van. And this is why we have YouTube. So I don't want to make a 2-inch hole in the top of my roof again. So I've actually notched out that little corner there. And I'm going to go and see if I can make this work. Just loop the wire around and it'll be underneath my deck. And I might even pull it in, depending on how easy this will be. And I'll have somebody watch up here to make sure that I'm not really pulling on that wire too hard. But I'm going to do outside loop, inside. That way I can drop right into my power bank. I do not need to make another hole. This is insane. They could have just made the entrance right there. OutEquip, you could have just made a cable entrance on the inside, and that would have been easy. At least give us the option for this. From the inside, I'm going to push it up. You want more cable, or you good?
I'm good. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
You might want to take him some more cable.
Taking cable?
Yeah, there's a lot left out.
Okay, good to know. How much more, Bubba?
That's good.
How about now?
That should be fine.
Now it's time to install the studs, and the part that has the least amount of thread goes into it. I put a little Loctite. I don't want this stuff moving around. And what happens is when you actually use this, the two mating surfaces actually will touch. And if you're getting a little bit of light, push up and you'll notice that the light goes away. And in my van, this metal is really bad, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So I'm going through and putting another piece of bracing or something here so I can reinforce this. Okay, these four go into here. Not too much, just a little bit. So the Mercedes metal is really bad, guys. I'm going to go and reinforce this. So I have run 2 pieces of wood and sucked them in. I'm obviously going to go and screw these down. If you want, you can even put construction adhesive. I am going to have to take this area back off where this trim area is, because I need to go ahead and put up the headliner area. Nonetheless, I like this a lot better. All the light is gone and it's a lot more secure. this stuff is not going anywhere. And you really don't want to go and crank down on these yet, as we want to make sure this is in place and that this is going to clear. So my panel is going to sit over here. And again, my wire is running inside. Yours might be running on the outside, but come on, this is a pretty big hole. And once you get this inside a Sprinter van, you're not going to be able to route it anywhere. So this could be very challenging if you don't keep it in this track. And then when you're over here, you can just go dump into the power bank. If I try to suck this panel all the way in, I actually run into a little problem. So these studs are very long. They actually protrude past this by quite a bit. So I actually need to cut these off. So even though this is DIY friendly, I hate to give you guys fake reviews. You may need to modify the hardware. And it'd be nice if they just included 2 different length studs. Wouldn't that be easier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now we cut. I hate cutting. That actually looks better.
A lot better.
By the way, if you're ever doing this, make sure you have something on the ground, as this could cause a fire hazard. That's hot.
So we're doing some sound deadening too. The studs are shaped. They're no longer an issue. It's looking good. My wire is running inside. Let's continue with the install. We're going to go ahead and suck this up. Just use the included foam here to go around and get rid of any open cavities. And just take your time. You can try stuffing it in the front here, like that, and in the back. Two days later, and we're gonna do a water test. Nothing's leaking. And I let that run up there for about 10 minutes. Now let's go ahead and plug in the unit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and raise up the trim piece. And connect all the wires. So there are a total of 4 connections up top, not 3. I am happy to report that this is working. It's very easy to wire up. The wire that they give you is super long. I'm gonna have to go actually shorten it, which is okay. But to go and power this up, it's pretty easy. And I'll talk a little bit about the advantages of going with the 12-volt system like this. And in the back, I have this unit powering it. This is a portable power station. So one of the reasons I chose the OutEquip 12-volt Pro unit is the fact that it's 12 volts. Now let me discuss why I chose this particular unit and what are the main benefits of actually going with the 12-volt system versus going with something that's 120 volts. And I think they actually make this unit in 24 volts as well, which might be a little bit more efficient, but I really like the benefits of 12 volts because most modern vehicles use a 12 volt power system and it's very easy to configure. Now if you have a newer vehicle, you might not even need a battery bank or a portable power station if you're going to just use it while you're driving. If you notice, my particular van does not have a rear AC. So if I was going to go and use this just while I'm driving, this would be perfect and no need for what I'm about to show you guys. But if you want to go the extra mile and be able to go and just park with the engine off and have the AC run, then I'm going to show you guys some solutions to that really quick. So this is my power bank. And I'm actually going to do a road trip this coming Friday with the kids to Hot Springs, Arkansas. So I'm going to go wire up the same exact way I'm about to show you guys. But obviously, I'm not going to have it on a ladder. So very easy to go and power up the AC unit. And I have a portable power station here that is native 12 volts. And it has enough power to go and keep that AC running for many hours. And you can go the simple route, which is just to go and wire up the AC system to 12 volt batteries. And if you want more time to run the AC, you will just add on additional batteries. So let me show you guys my setup here really quick, just to give you guys a little context. So this is the unit. It has an Anderson 120 connection, and I just wired it up to this particular junction post, which is the positive, and this negative. And this wire runs all the way to the front. And then up here, I want to connect to the AC, to the black, and to the negative. Clipped in the two included Anderson connections, and the unit has power. So now I have an AC with the heater. It's amazing. So let's talk about the features of this unit, and I'm doing this at nighttime because you guys got to see this light. Hey guys, we got to talk about the nighttime features. Did you guys know this has a built-in light? Let me show you guys. So I'm only using the light from the unit inside the van, and this is the remote. The unit also has the ability to keep the display light on or off. So if you're sensitive to light as you sleep, you can go ahead and definitely get it to be completely pitch black. Now let's talk about the functions of the remote and some of the features of the unit. So the remote is included, and the remote is very easy to operate. In pressing swing and turbo at the same time, we'll switch from Fahrenheit to Celsius. And we have a couple of different options available. So here's the power. There's the option for cooling. Then we have the option for heating. And last is the option for just the fan. On heating and cooling, I have the option of hitting a turbo mode. And if I enable turbo, I can see a little icon right here. There's the icon of a person flexing. The ducts are super adjustable. I just heard the compressor turn on. That's all the noise it makes. I can barely hear it. Wow, this thing is ultra quiet. So very easy to understand remote. There's obviously a sleep mode and timer, and overall I really like what they've done here. And make sure you guys check out my complete install video, so you guys will actually see this and how it looks when the whole van is complete and the headliner is in place. Oh, this feels so good. And imagine how efficient this would be once the installation and everything else is installed in the van. This is gonna rock. Hey guys, really quick, I really put a lot of time and effort into these videos and try to give you guys my best and most honest feedback, so that way you guys know exactly what this unit will do. So this is a great unit for AC and heating needs. And if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up, as it lets YouTube know that I'm bringing you valuable content. On top of that, subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see the complete van build. And I always try to give you guys a new perspective on van building, as I'm not super talented, but I understand the basics, and I try to go and make everything simplified and try to help you guys save as much time and money during the process. If you like it, again, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up. Now let's get back to finishing up this review, and at the end of the video I'll leave you guys some link cards to a special discount code, and you guys can also find that special discount code in the video description box down below. And I really think a 12 volt AC system installed correctly, it's going to be hard to beat, especially since the fact that it has a built-in heater. You're getting 2 units for the price of 1, and it's 12 volts. It doesn't really get better than that. Again, the total output of the unit as far as the AC is 10,000 BTUs, and we get 4,500 BTUs if you decide to get the unit that has a built-in heater. That's the one I have chosen, and so far I'm really liking it. So now that we're done with the install, I want to share some tips with you guys. This would have definitely helped me out, so I'm going to go ahead and give it to you guys in just a random order. First of all, this wire is definitely long, and you may not need a wire this long, so it is definitely easy to go ahead and alter. All you need to do is go ahead and focus on this area. Keep the fuse in here, and then if you need to shorten it, go ahead and shorten it from this point to this point. And lugs are very inexpensive, and you can just use a hammer with a chisel to go ahead and make a new lug. On top of that, the wire loom is very thick. So this wire loom, as you guys notice, has a lot of empty space. So you do not need to go through and cut a crazy big hole. And it is nice that they added such a strong wire loom, but I went ahead and started figuring out how short or how thin I need to go. So this is the wire loom I'm going to be using inside the van. And again, my wire is going to be nicely tucked. It's going to be running through zip ties, and it's going to be recessed right in the headliner area right here with some padding underneath, so when I drive, it's not going to rattle. On top of that, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is going to be cutting out a giant hole. So I kind of proved that you don't need to go and cut out a giant hole. We've leak tested it with some heavy usage and no leaks. So when you are cutting out a little section of the gasket that goes all the way around, you want to cut in this corner so the wire comes out of the unit right here, and you're going to do a small little loop around the foam blocks that support the unit. Then you're going to come in this corner, as you don't want to go and make some crazy bends. And when you come in this corner right here, you want to make a notch at the top of the gasket, not at the bottom. If you make it at the bottom, you will definitely have a leak. Obviously, you want to put the self-leveling sealer to go ahead and waterproof everything. And I even applied the self-leveling sealer on the inside. So that might be overkill, but I like to make sure that I'm not going to have any sort of leakage, as it can really destroy the van. Then let's talk about the roof area. So if you are going to be working on top of your van, make sure that you have some sort of padding down. You guys noticed that I had a roof system, and even with the roof system, I went through and just grabbed some very thick foam, and I kept my knees and anything that was sharp or could scratch the paint inside that particular foam piece. And I'm glad to report that I didn't damage anything. On top of that, make sure you vacuum all the excess metal shavings, and then you blow it away so you don't have it just tucked away in some of the corners of the van on top. And as far as cutting, that was a little challenging, not because of the unit, because the Mercedes-Benz metal is really flimsy. So that's why I reinforced it. And you guys may have to go ahead and reinforce your van too. And again, you can just use wood. It's very easy to do so. And I may use some seam sealer right here to go ahead and make sure that this really just sticks in place. And that's pretty easy to do. As far as cutting the metal roof, you want to make sure that you have at least a jigsaw with a metal blade, and it really helps to have a cutter. So a circular 4-disc cutter, because I would go ahead and cut and leave a little section on each side. And at the end, instead of using a jigsaw, I would just use the disc cutter and cut that little section. And that will definitely save your roof and give you much cleaner edges. And I did go around the edges on my particular vehicle. I went through and I painted them, I filed them down, and I also used some of this edge guard right here on the corners, so as anybody slides their hand in that area down the line, they're not going to cut it, because obviously on top of the roof with that saw going against it, it turns into a sharp knife. As far as keeping the van clean while I was installing this, Putting the box underneath works so good, guys. I can honestly tell you guys, I didn't have to do any cleanup on the inside. And lifting up from the inside was also easy. So if you are doing this by yourself, I did it with my young kids. And once you get the unit on top, you can go and lift from the inside and move the unit around instead of having to wrestle with it on top of the vehicle. And you guys notice that I had to shorten up my studs. If I would have left the studs the factory length, this unit would be down even this much further. It's already protruding out quite a bit. My headliner is gonna go right here, which is a 1/4 inch, and then I'm gonna have some upholstery on it. So this is the perfect height for my vehicle. So just be prepared to make some alterations. And one thing that I did not mention is when you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you don't use some sort of aggressive cutting blade. Instead, you wanna use a metal speed blade, as it's just gonna be a lot better. When I first started doing it, I was using a really aggressive blade and it was going very slow. When I did change it over to a speed blade, it works so much better. I'll leave you guys links to anything that I talk about in the video description box down below. What do you guys think about the AC system? So it's easy to wire up, very easy to install, and very power efficient. And the best part is that it's 12 volts. So operating this is going to be possible for most people. I want to hear from you guys. Is this something that you would install in your camper van, RV, or SUV? Comment down below and let me know if there's anything in this video that I missed. I gotta tell you guys, my kids are going to be sitting exactly where I'm standing right now, and these kids are going to love this AC because this particular camper van literally turns into a big old oven in the summertime. So I don't want to sit here and tell you guys that it's going to go and cool off all the van unless I go through and I insulate the whole van. And I think they're going to be very pleased in the summertime and also in the winter. And I'm really impressed with the quality of this, guys. It feels really good. There's a lot of cool wind coming down on my head. To be honest, I'm probably going to be using this more than the kids because this is going to be connected to solar panels. So basically I'm going to be able to power this up for free, not have to burn any diesel or gas, which is going to be extra cool. And check out my deck video on how I make a deck around this particular unit that I can actually stand on. I think you guys are really going to like it.